Hi, this is Dr. Jensen, and this is video number 2 on identifying causes of low grades in high school and what can be done about them. I'm Dr. Harris Jensen. I've been a psychiatrist for over 25 years in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is the home of Colorado State University and a number of great high schools. As a result, I've worked with high school and college students quite a bit. Every fall, many come into my office in great distress over getting low grades that semester or a previous one. And then together we come up with a plan of identifying what's getting in the way and how do we get rid of it. And so in this video, I'm following up on the first video. The first video, I emphasized to get good grades, you need to focus. And if you can't focus, then going to get lower grades. So in this video, I'm going to focus on addiction issues. So a common cause of low grades is unknown maybe to even the young person as well as parents. There might be an addiction. And because the person is using media or substances a lot, they're not able to focus in school. Or maybe they're using the substances mostly in the evening, smoking dope, drinking with their friends. And a common result of using those substances, like opiates, alcohol, stimulants, or pot, is people lack motivation. There's all this homework, and you really need to pour on the coal and read real intensively and then do the writing assignment, and they just don't have the motivation to do that for a couple hours. So they don't. And then the grades drop down. And it might be the addiction caused poor focus, might be lack of motivation, lack of discipline to do the right thing because it is the right thing. They'd rather go get high. And so it's the responsibility of young people and adults to identify these issues. What are some telltale signs? Well, you might find paraphernalia like pot pipes and such in a person's room. You might find their attitude, even for things around the house, has changed. They don't like to spend time with their family. They're often gone for extended periods of time. Their behavior may change and become erratic. They may become more defiant, mouthy, making excuses for not doing chores around the house, not wanting to spend time with the family. Then you got to wonder, well, why is their personality changing? And it might be an addiction. A common addiction, of course, is the internet. It used to be adults would say, hey, I don't want you spending more than an hour or two on the internet. It's bad. Now the average adult spends 7.5 hours on the internet. That's average. And so it's kind of hard for a lot of parents to say, hey, you shouldn't be spending all this time on the internet when they are too. But nonetheless, if that's an issue, as a family, you should rally to the side of the young person and say, hey, we want you to succeed, but you're spending all this time on the internet. You shouldn't spend more than an hour. How can I say that? Well, you can search on Google Scholar, which searches the world's scientific database, and you can see the studies. And it's pretty impressive. So using the internet for more than an hour a day is like basically drinking 3 to 5 beers every night. So they've done brain imaging studies, and when people are using hours of the internet every day, young people who do that literally have changes in how the nerves are connected in their brain. The nerve connectivity is changing. And in what's the behavioral result? Well, you don't have the same son or daughter. And if you're a student listening to this, you don't have the same brain. You don't have the same personality. And what are the behavioral changes? Number one, worse focus. So that's so obvious nowadays that a lot of marketing people don't bother to write stuff because people don't read. They just give people videos. Then you don't have to read. Uh, so poor focus can be a result of this addiction. Same thing happens with alcohol and pot. Lack of motivation. Why is that? Extensive use of the internet is kind of like a dopamine hit. And brain imaging studies show dopamine areas, dopamine areas get excited when young people are watching TikTok, Instagram videos, or just playing a video game. It's exciting. And what happens is then other things aren't, like schoolwork that used to be interesting, or reading, or spending time with friends and family, playing simple board games like no, and they just spend hours on their phone. If you find yourself doing that, ask, is this what I want? Is this how I want my personality to change? Do I want my attention and motivation to be diminished by doing something I didn't used to do before? Studies show young people at kindergarten, they're maybe using the internet an hour a day. First, second grade might be an hour, 2 hours a day. Third, fourth, fifth grade is when things really pick up. And it can be hard to push back as parents. Kids can whine and complain. I'm a parent too, and my kids are in their late teens, early 20s, and I'm glad that we insisted on certain things like no electronics at the dinner table, and we should eat together as a family. These old-fashioned values will really pay off as young people keep with their interest in learning and one day become financially independent because they got a good education. Maybe it was with a trade such as being an electrician or plumber or something else. But if you lose your interest in learning because it's hard to focus and stay motivated, then that's what we call a prescription for positivity. No, that's a prescription for poverty. A prescription for a positive life is when you can focus and be organized and motivated. And so watch out for those addictions. Another thing is that I've actually diagnosed some of my patients with internet addiction. It is a bona fide diagnosis that psychiatrists are familiar with. It's a diagnosis that's well documented in journal articles, medical science journal articles, so it's a real deal. And it can be fought with cognitive behavior therapy. So that's something I've worked with some young people on as they try to manage their time. Hey, how much time are you spending on the internet? Are you using to-do lists and day timer? Yeah, you're respecting, you're valuing your time. But then when you spend 4 hours on the internet at night and your grades start falling off, your social life starts falling off, then you're giving those things up for the sake of the internet. So then we say, okay, write down what you're going to do and when you're going to do it in that day timer or a daily calendar, and then stick with it. And if your brain fights you, ask, what kind of attitude is that I want to give up on my future, my studies, so I can live the life I want? And I'm giving that up for just something on my phone, which actually just makes money for someone else. So, a lot of addictions are driven by people who don't pay attention to consequences. They make excuses for their addiction and they deny the real life things they're giving up. And so I help people wrestle with that and get their life back in order. And so this is video 2, looking at things that can interfere with young people succeeding in school, especially high school, and what can be done about it. And video 3, we'll do a deep dive into study skills. So you can be saying no to addictions, you can be planning your time, well focused, and yet the grades drop off. How could that happen? Well, we'll see you for video 3 next.